I was really disappointed to hear that interpretive dance is not welcome because I had prepared something, so maybe during intermission I'll just do it for fun. So I have always wondered what I would do if I witnessed a crime. Would I be one of those people who pulls out my phone and, records it immediately and uploads it? Would I have the presence of mind to, jot down the license tag number or remember a distinguishing characteristic? Would I freeze? What would I do if I witnessed a crime? 2 years ago, Labor Day, I learned the answer to that question in no uncertain terms. It was about noon on a sultry Labor Day here in Lewiston, Maine, and high drama was unfolding at the corner of Central Avenue and Vale Street. Can you picture it? Central and Vale. A small crowd was gathering at the corner, not this corner, but that corner. And just a little bit down the street, pulled over on the side of the road, was my friend Mara. She was in her car, and she was on the phone, animatedly talking to Lewiston Police Department, and she was reporting what she had just seen, which was a crazy car barreling down the road and mowing down a person on a bicycle. Back on the corner, there was a middle-aged white couple, kind of oddly overdressed for a hot holiday. They had apparently been knocking on doors, inviting people to their church. Doesn't happen often in Maine, so it's kind of notable. And the woman had her phone in her ear, and she too was on the phone with Lewiston Police Department dispatcher about this erratic car that had been barreling down the road. And thank goodness she mentioned, the poor young man, the victim, had made his great escape. He was out of there. So she was, very upset. At the same time, this gaggle of kids comes running out of the red house at the corner of Central and Vale. They'd been inside playing. One of them happened to be my 11-year-old daughter, who was at a friend's house. And they came out because they had heard this repeated blowing of a horn and some screaming and hollering. So they're like, what's going on? What's going on? Across the street on the porch, actually across the street and down about half a block on the porch, was an elderly man kind of pacing with the help of his cane, looking at what's happening on the corner. He'd actually seen the whole thing, but really didn't want to get involved. So he was just kind of standing there watching. Finally, kind of walking down from the far end of the street, there was a family of 3 from India, probably 60-year-old man and woman, and their young adult son. And they were walking toward this corner. Had they seen anything? Were they just curious? Who knew? 2 police cars come driving up from different directions really quickly. And the cops get out and they start asking people for, what happened? What's your story? They hand out like pieces of paper so you can write down your statement. People start writing down your statement. I was one of those people. I start writing down my statement. So now, flashback about 3 hours. It's the same Labor Day. I pop out of bed because even though it's Labor Day, I'm going to work, and it's like my favorite day because it is the day that Bates College students, their first-year students, it's the first day of new student orientation. And my job is to welcome those students and get them jazzed about being in this community. Who could have a better job, right? So I bound out of bed, I put on my Bates College sweatshirt. No, it wasn't sweatshirt, it was a t-shirt, one of the long sleeve ones. And I get in my gold Prius and I drive to Lewiston Middle School, which happens to be on Central Avenue. And I go to the back and I pick up the 3 water coolers that the PE teacher has left there for me, put them in the back of the Prius, drive down to Walnut Street here in downtown, up to a young man's apartment by the name of Eamon, whom some of you may know. He arrived here in Lewiston. He had arrived about 3 years earlier, speaking 3 languages, but not English, and so he'd had to go through ELL classes. He was one of our success stories. He graduated from high school. He was about to go to college. He had become a young entrepreneur, creating a little business called Sambusa Stop, and he had made for me that day 500 vegetable sambusas. And I pick up the 500 vegetable sambusas, put them in the back of the Prius, drive to my office at Bates College. Get out the table, set everything up. I've got the cooler, the cups, the sambusas, and I proceed to sort of hold court for 500 students as they come through in small groups of 30. Instead of meeting them in my office building, I meet them in the community garden near my office building, because my message to them is, while you are a student here, don't stay on campus. Don't live in an ivory tower. Don't live in a bubble. Get out into Lewiston. This is an amazing community. Lewiston-Auburn is a rockin' place to live. Become engaged citizens. Throw yourself in. This is a place that will enrich you and stretch you and grow you. These people have amazing stories to tell. They're living amazing lives. Be a part of this community. So I'm like, get your engaged citizenship on, y'all. That is my message. I do that for 3 hours. I'm like totally spent, had enough of engaged citizenship. I get in the Prius, drive down Wood Street, hang a ride on Campus Ave, hang another ride onto Central. I'm going to return the coolers to Lewiston Middle School. And right as I'm turning onto Central, the middle school's on my left, out of just the corner of my eye, I see what appears to be somebody reaching into the window of an SUV that's parked in front of the middle school, and I think pulling out a bag, and then definitely riding on a bike down the sidewalk with this like bag. And I'm like, holy shit, I just saw a crime! And I'm like, engaged citizen. So what am I gonna do? So I just instinctively, I start laying on the horn. I'm like, rah, rah, rah. And then my window's down because it's hot by now. And I'm like, stop, thief! I saw you! That's like my school! This is my community! Stop! And so I step on the gas and I start going. And this guy's like, what in the world? Who is this crazy freakazoid who is, anyway, he's like riding his bike. He gets onto the road and I'm like going over to him and he's right next to me. I'm like, stop, I just saw what you did. You better stop. And I'm like, you're not going to get away with this. And I'm like trying to I'm like scooting the car over to him. I'm trying to what am I got to stop him, right? I'm engaged citizen. And so anyway, he eventually he slows down a little bit and lets me kind of get in front, and he goes over here and he goes up on the sidewalk right over here and he's headed toward Vale and he's like just going. And I'm like, stop, blah, blah, blah. And I realized, okay, he's either gonna cross over Vale or he's gonna turn right. And so I speed up and I hang a hard right as he's going. I'm like, and his bike slides under my car. He boom against the side. I've still got that big old dent in it to show. And then he gets up and he picks up his bag and he starts limping away down Central. And I'm like, I put my badass Prius into reverse, and I start driving down the sidewalk. Okay, driving down the sidewalk. I'm clearly on civic steroids, and so I'm driving down the sidewalk, and then I can't go any further because there's a tree or something, and he runs across the street, hops into this green SUV, and he's out of there. So I'm like, I get out of the car, and I see my friend Mara's car right there on the side. And so I run over, and I'm like, Mara, did you, where'd they go? Did you get any kind of description? Did you? And she's like, officer, I think there might be another side to this story. and so I'm like, oh. So I realize, she's called the cops, and I'm like, So I slowly back my car back down the sidewalk and onto the street, and I get out, and there's this little group of assembled citizens on the corner of Central and Vale, including my 11-year-old daughter, who's just trying to, just melt into the woodwork. She's like, OMG, that's my mom! And anyway, so the police, drive up, and there I am giving my statement. And I'm, writing it all down, and I'm thinking, I'm in the right here. So one of the cops, while I'm writing and other people are writing, he's gone over to the middle school. He's come back. He says to me, ma'am, could you describe the car that you saw? And I'm like, oh my God, maybe I didn't see what I thought I saw, right? I mean, I know all this stuff. I mean, Amy Douglas at Bates does all this research into how unreliable, our versions of stories are. And I'm like, oh my God, I ran down an innocent guy on a bike? Is this possible? I'm like, So anyway, so I'm thinking, wait, I could swear I saw shattered glass. Did I see shattered glass or did I imagine shattered glass? So I'm really kind of sweating at this point. And I look over across the street and I see the old guy on the porch. And he's looking at me and I look at him and he nods his head. And so I'm like, excuse me, officer. And I walk over. Hi, sir, did you see anything that happened? Did I mow down an innocent guy? And he's like, I saw the whole thing. The getaway car pulled up here about an hour ago, and the guy got out with the bike, and he scoped out all the cars. And, so that old guy, who was anything but an engaged citizen, sitting on his porch, was my great escape. Thank you.